Hello and welcome to the Long Ball Street podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. If you're listening, the audio version, remember you can grab us on YouTube if you want. Get involved. We generally do now stream live. If you want to get involved in the comments as we go, then you're more than welcome. Hello, James.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
I'm excited for the weekend.
Exciting weekend for me and you, Flav. Stag do for all, Cop. That's right, guys.
Oh, the banner.
Yeah, I love it. It's going to be mental. I'm going to get stripped naked. I'm going to be like...
Someone might think your bum, probably.
Yeah, anything goes. I might dress up as a dwarf so that I don't get handcuffed to a dwarf. I'll just get handcuffed to myself.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very weird. I was chatting to someone who's just got engaged, and he was saying, "Are you excited?" In my head, I'm just going on a stag do. I'm not going on my stag do.
Yeah, I get it.
So that feels really odd. It's exciting.
So I don't know your mates that well, and I have no idea what they've got planned for you.
Yeah.
If it was me, I wouldn't rate it. I wouldn't like being handcuffed to shit, made to be naked, all that stuff.
Craig, who is my...
Not for me.
Not this Craig, another Craig, is my best man, or one of my two best men. And he's got to get married next year. So...
What are you going to do?
Taking notes. In case if he goes too far, then I'll be like...
Right.
So if someone else is going too far, I'll look at Craig and go... And then he'll go, woo, let's calm this down a bit.
Do you want to know a weird thing that happened in football this week?
Oh yeah, go on then.
They blasted Francesco Totti's last ever playing shirt, into space.
What? Why?
I don't know.
How?
Why?
3 questions there for
It's
you.
good. I don't know. I just thought it would be a fitting thing to do.
Was it? I imagine he agreed to that. He'd be fuming, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on here? Can't even recall. Is there an Italian space station that's been couriered over to America and then sent into oblivion?
Yeah, I have no idea. I just think there's kind of a fitting end to it all, really. There's just loads of pictures of smiling faces and astronauts.
There's got to be a reason behind it.
And off it went.
I've no idea what the reason is. But if that's me, if I'm Totti, I want to keep that shirt. Or at least sell it for like a decent...
He's got everything under the sun. He doesn't really care about playing shirt, does he?
Maybe not.
Why not sell it and then give the money to charity instead of just blasting it into space?
Yeah, because it's just a really extravagant way of putting it in the bin.
Yeah, the BBC article, where I got it from, literally has no explanation as to why this has happened. Just that it's happened.
Does it just say more to follow?
No.
like a little arc.
Up it goes. Another weird thing. Jesus Navas obviously didn't have a great time at Manchester City. He's struggled somewhat.
I was disappointed with his time at Man City because I like players like him, guys who are just like really quick. I love a quick
skillful as well.
Yeah, but I think his main thing was the fact that he was supposed to be quicker than the other guy.
Yeah,
and it just didn't really work at Man City.
It's a strange story of Jesus Navas because Spurs were linked with him early on in his career. And he stayed with Sevilla for a long time, and you look back and he has massive issues with anxiety,
right?
Massive homesickness. Yeah. So what part of the reason why he didn't move on from Sevilla is that he has huge issues with homesickness. That's
incredibly ironic in terms of what you're going to go on to talk about. That he has problems with anxiety. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, that's true. That more to follow. So he stayed for Sevilla for a long time because of that. And then he finally got over it. He had lots of counselling and got over it and signed for Man City, which is kind of supposed to be his kind of launch pad, really.
Right.
And
he's one of those as well. There's a lot of players like that like, so Matt Letizia, for example, he's always stayed at Southampton. Truth is, when he played for England, when he went up to that next level, didn't really work out for him. So there are a lot of players who are kind of, I guess we'll find out with Lukaku, being that bigger fish in a smaller pond does suit certain players, and when you then move up and you've got to be a lot better, then he hasn't got enough.
Do you think that will be an issue for Lukaku at United? You think he'll settle in well?
I think he'll do well overall. The facts are he scores a lot of goals in the Premier League, and the
score goals everywhere, even when he's on loan at West Brom.
Yeah, and he is very young as well. I think weirdly we should probably be more excited about someone like Lukaku being able to make that step up. I mean, no one scores that amount of goals at a lesser club and can't do it at that level. Surely it's going to be more helpful. Yeah. You've got more chances. It'd be interesting to see how he deals with the pressure of it. But I think he's been the main man at these other places. So I'm intrigued to see how at the end of his career, what he'll be seen as. Will he be seen as good a player as a Wayne Rooney, who in this moment in time doesn't get a huge amount of respect, but in 10 years' time, will people go, wow, what a player, what a career he had? Yeah. Will Lukaku get the same? Will he be at that same level, or will he be a bit less?
Well, it's about how long you stay, I think. No matter how, unless you're an absolute elite player, you stay long enough to ruin your legacy.
Yeah.
Like Rooney probably should have left a couple of years ago, because it's bizarre that he's their record goal scorer, and then they kind of look at him like he outstayed his welcome, like he left. He's a bad smell. As some Man United fans, not some Man United fans I've spoken to, it's kind of, they looked at Rooney and was like, you're just not good enough, so I'm not interested in you anymore. Bizarre.
Legacy's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think you've certainly seen it in boxing. There's a wicked documentary on Netflix called Counterpunch.
Yeah, I watched it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, great.
And it's about this kind of obsession with the record and with the being undefeated, and sort of working out the pathway to being the best, and being a Mayweather where you've never been beaten, and that makes you the best. And it's about the record as much as anything else. And I think you're seeing that more and more in football now, be it like Ronaldo and his obsession with those numbers. I think 3 years ago you were like, Messi is the best out of those two. Stop going on about it. But Ronaldo's got the numbers. He's probably got the Champions Leagues now. I think has he got more?
I don't know.
And he is obsessed with those numbers, and he will continue to be.
But that's what drives him, right? So in order to perform at that level, you need something driving. You need some goal to aim at. If you've completed football, as Ronaldo pretty much has, apart from the World Cup, it's
then it becomes completely about your legacy. And I guess that's the same with Neymar, which I guess we're gonna talk about at some point. I don't know if we need to do it right now, but two big factors for him, it seems, are one, the winning the Ballon d'Or, being the main guy. And I think the World Cup has been a big factor as well, because you're playing with 6 other Brazilians in that PSG side.
Yeah.
And there's a World Cup on the corner. And he knows if that Brazilian team can win a World Cup, then he gets to that same level because he will be the talisman of that team. He then becomes a Ronaldo, he becomes a Romario, becomes maybe not Pele, but he creates his legacy.
All right, so we're going to come on to Neymar in a second, but what do you think of these release videos that clubs are? I mean, I think some clubs get the joke. So the Jesus Navas one, just to qualify why we were talking about Navas, it was him being abducted, literally a bag put over his head.
Yeah.
A man who suffers with anxiety probably
jumped. He got jumped, put
in a boot, driven to Sevilla's stadium, and then released.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he walks out in wonderment at a stadium.
And he's okay with it. Yeah, he's fine with it.
And it's not like he hasn't seen it.
That anxiety stuff's really worked out, actually, because that's the only way he would have dealt with it. Otherwise, he would have just run about screaming.
So is it fine? What do you think about these release videos? Do they get on your nerves?
I think they do get on my nerves, to be honest.
Really?
Because it blows my mind that Sevilla that's been signed off. That idea's been signed. Because the idea before used to be that you want to be seen as kind of like a family club. That's not. I don't think you're ticking all the boxes there. Yeah. I don't know. You can have a bit of fun with it, and I don't know. Anyone who watches Ball Street a lot will know that I think the big thing for me and you with stuff, and humour in particular, is self-deprecation. And if you're kind of taking the piss out of yourself a little bit, then that's okay. Like there was one with. It was a Spurs player, Kadu, and there was this big thing about announce the signing of this player that no one really knew about, and then they did, and it was taking the piss out of themselves a bit. But this, I don't know, it doesn't work with my sense of humour.
Right,
I don't get it.
I don't know, because if you look at Roma's release videos for their players, they're so hammy that it's clear they're aware. Like one of them, they just ripped off. They took Southampton's release video and just put masking tape over to Southampton and put AS Roma.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it for, a Southampton player?
No, it was just for another player. But because there had been so much commotion around that video that it was kind of seemed pertinent. And then another one for the is it Unda, the Turkish player they signed? I can't remember his name. I pronounce it, but he it's like this really garish. Remember YouTube highlight packages from like 6 years ago, made by 14-year-old kids in their bedroom with like techno music and stuff. It's one of those.
Right.
So when it's right, it's right. But I think in England we haven't quite got that self-deprecation down, because Southampton's videos, like the kit release for the fucking animation and like.
Do you know what? I didn't mind that too much. I thought there was there was a quality to that.
Yeah, it was a quality, but it was
like the Sevilla one. It's not even. We were chatting about it upstairs. It's not even a proper bag. It's like a bin bag. You're breaking the law. Like I don't know whose thought process has gone. Well, no. Well, look, I've had this idea, guys. Right, everyone gather around. Yeah. So sign Navas, right? Yeah. Let's pretend we kidnapped him.
Yeah.
Well, before we do that, it sounds like it's a bit on the line. Maybe we should check with our, line manager or something. Well, yeah, I love it. Off you go. It's just like, I don't know what that's what. I think that's what
also strikes me like he would have never signed for Sevilla unless he'd been kidnapped.
Yeah, I know. There's a million different roads that you can go down with that. It just seems it doesn't work for me, if I'm honest. I don't know.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Neymar.
Okay.
Literally all. If you look on Reddit or anywhere, every story is about Neymar. It's a fascinating one, and there's a million different angles.
This for me, just to be a bit hyperbolic about it.
Yeah.
This is I know it is literally the biggest transfer.
Yeah.
Of all time, but this feels like a proper bombshell earthquake of a transfer. To go from MSN and like Barcelona, no one leaves MSN. Is that right? Yeah. Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Well, why are you looking at me like that?
I don't like that.
You don't like that? I won't say it again.
Yeah.
To go from that and Barcelona, no one leaves Barcelona if it's going well.
So at this stage, you're right. Let's come back to that, because at this stage, we're at a place where La Liga have not sanctioned. So whenever a player moves, the buying club has to pay a fee to the league.
Right.
Which I found out today. And La Liga are essentially saying, how can you afford this? But I've never, ever in my life heard of a league interfering with a transfer. I've never heard the Premier League not sanction a transfer. I've never heard this from La Liga.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not La Liga's place to question the buying club.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not Barcelona's. So
it's UEFA, right?
UEFA's role to check financial fair play. So they would say, so La Liga are saying that in order to afford this transfer, you have to have commercial revenues that are more significant than Man United and Real Madrid, which can't be the case.
Yeah, because the league is inferior in terms of the money that it brings in.
Yeah, well, it can be the case because they can find different ways of funneling the money into the club. But the whole point of this is it's nothing to do with the Liga, and it's nothing to do with Barcelona whether or not they can pay. If that check clears, it's up to them to prove to FIFA.
Yeah,
to UEFA.
I think it's for them to have this moral agenda now is. It means that there's actually a different agenda here, and it's an agenda it's a problem that they've created themselves by having a league that the money is distributed to Real Madrid and Barcelona more than the other guys, and that's why you've created. They're lucky enough. It's the same situation in Scotland, and that's to a point. That's not really. It's probably not the Scottish League's fault. It's just these two. You've got these two mammoth clubs, and you've got the same in Spain. But there's that same problem. You've got these two guys who bring in all the revenue, and they've taken all the revenue. So now they're getting picked on. These two guys who have been above everyone always, and they're getting picked on by another guy who's gone on steroids.
Yeah.
And gone, look, no, we want him. And what it does is it affects La Liga as a brand,
of course,
in a massive way. Because
Yeah.
if that's not the top of the tree anymore, it's just two teams now.
The fact is, that's right. Talking about affecting the brand of the La Liga is so true. You say who are the biggest two clubs in the world? Obviously, Man United make more money than Barcelona, but Barcelona and Real Madrid are probably the two. No one,
certainly in the top three.
No one buys players from them unless they're done with them.
Well, so we've been there's been a lot of talk with a guy in our office called Cameron, who is a Liverpool fan, and he's adamant that Coutinho won't go to Barcelona. And this was before, obviously, the Neymar thing was happening. And I was going, how can you be so certain that he doesn't want to go? He goes, I know he doesn't want to go. He's come out and said he doesn't want to go. But it doesn't work like that. And I was trying to say to him, if you're from Brazil and you want to make it and you want to be like your heroes, Romario and Ronaldo and all those different guys, if you are playing for Chelsea or whatever and you're not bothered about about them to a point. You like them as a club and they pay you wages and all that stuff. That's fine. But if Barcelona or Real Madrid come for you, generally
You go.
Of
course.
So what La Liga are probably getting nervous about is that thing that we all go, if Barcelona come for you, you go. Are we now going to step into a new world where you don't you go to Barcelona or Real Madrid unless PSG want to get you, or someone else? Are they going to be pushed down from where they've been?
Yeah, of course they're going to be worried about that. And do you think it's a bad thing? I don't like the fact that they're essentially two bullies in European football. If they want your players, you go.
They do have, to be fair to them, they do have history as well.
Yeah.
And that tradition of those players throughout the years, so that does make it slightly different.
What I'm saying is, if you've got a monopoly where ultimately the best players end up at Barcelona and Real Madrid, it's better if that isn't just like it's the status quo. They've got a vested interest in making sure that never changes.
Yeah.
Barcelona. This is essentially undermines Barcelona's role as a power club in Europe, because PSG, a team in the French league, which is it's generally seen as inferior to La Liga, probably the fourth best league in Europe, right? That's what I think people think, behind Premier League, Bundesliga, and that's agreeable, isn't it? So, and suddenly there's this like French club, PSG. Essentially, it's only been in existence 40 years.
I think
and they've just said we want the third best player in the world, and we can get him. Yeah. And here is evidence.
I think what it takes us further towards is this. You know, the Champions League is everything. It seems like, and winning that is everything. And so, because Paris Saint-Germain, their owners, they must not be bothered about the league to a point. All that matters is really the Champions League, and are we winning the Champions League? What it becomes when it's just about the money and just about these powerhouses, that sooner or later the world's getting smaller and smaller. This Super League is going to happen because you've got another one here.
Yeah.
And they're all. It's because it is so much about the money of it that they're going to have. There's going to be enough of them that they go, well, hang on, we're wasting our time with these guys. Like, this is the league becomes clubs. The league becomes the League Cup in these people's minds, and they go, well, I don't care because we've got a Champions League, and then we're going on that road to that Super League.
Do you know what? I if that happened, I wouldn't care. I just hope Tottenham wouldn't be a part of it. I'm not saying we would, but if it was in 10 years' time and we finish second, we probably would end up in it.
What is?
Do you think like removing all of that super money from football and then become a kind of the bottom would fall out of football completely in domestically, but it would still be a competitive sport, and fans, I think, would get our game back a little bit.
I think they would. I think they'd take the shine off those achievements of winning whatever league it is to a point. But in the microcosm of those moments, when we win the playoff final, I don't care that it's not the Champions League final and it's just the playoff final. The important thing is a moment and winning something. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think we would get back a lot of what we would want, which is essentially you want opportunity. You want every club to have an opportunity, and you want to go into every season when we're about to go into a new season with hope, with the chance that I'd love to go back to the 70s where each year you had generally you had a different winner. Yeah. Derby won it those years, and Forest won it. We nearly won the league, just because we got a decent team together. Yeah. Not because we had more money than everyone else. And so if the bottom falls out of it, that's great. What is not right is that if we're supposedly going by these financial fair play rules, that surely PSG are doing something naughty here in getting this deal done, because it's an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's something coming out of the Guardian have reported on it as saying that the deal is being done in a bit more of a roundabout way. So Mundo Deportivo reported that Neymar may have already agreed to become an ambassador for Qatar's World Cup. Yeah. Of course, the owners are from Qatar. And that fee would be 200 million. So essentially, even if La Liga go, PSG, you haven't got the money to do it, because he's been paid 200 million, Neymar walks into La Liga offices and goes, there's a check for 200 million, I want to buy out my contract. And then he actually is, so this world record transfer fee doesn't actually exist. It's actually, he's going as a free agent, which is mad.
So Daniel Gee, we've had on the podcast, go back and listen to it, some fascinating podcasts about, he's a lawyer in football. And he said, because what was interesting to me is the league is setting this kind of putting a stake in the ground, saying we will not sanction this transfer. And he says Barcelona or La Liga are not the FFP regulator. UEFA is, therefore it is up to each club when submitting their FFP documentation to demonstrate that they are compliant. I don't believe a club has the power to ask UEFA to start an investigation. UEFA can ask questions of transactions if they wish to, which usually happens after the submission of each club's FFP submissions. So if that date is at the end of the season, they don't even have to justify the money we're spending until this point. Anyway, it's fascinating, and it's interesting to talk about. I just like the fact that I got an issue about the evil of money in football, but I like the upsetting of the apple cart. I like one of the benefits of Man City having so much money is that there wasn't that top four monopoly. Because you remember throughout pretty much all of 2000, there was 4 clubs that finished in the top 4, and that was it. Yeah. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal. And it's almost become a fairer league because that monopoly was upset to a certain degree. So,
as purely a football decision, will it be a good football decision for Neymar? Do you think 25-year-old going to
PSG? Of course not. No, he was at the best club for him. Barcelona.
Can you, like we were chatting about on one of our...
So who cares if he wins the French league?
So it's down to the Champions League, and do you know what, he is properly, if he wants to win the Ballon d'Or, for him to go for this amount of money, he's going to stay there for 5 years, right, whatever. For him to win the Ballon d'Or, he essentially needs to win the Champions League this year or the World Cup this year, because otherwise I'm not sure he's going to get it.
Yeah, I can't see. How can if you're being, he's probably the third best player in the world. You're dropping down the league, so it's going to be easier for him. And
physically he should be in better shape for those big Champions League games, which will allow him to be more influential. He'll also be playing with 6, as I said earlier, he'll be playing with 6 players from the Brazil squad. So that means they're going to be better at playing with each other, and when they go into the World Cup, it gives them a better chance.
Mate, this is about money. All about money. He's being paid £515,000 a week. Of course, it's about money. It's nothing to do with ambition. It's nothing to do with. What's good for his career. It's only about him being greedy. He is a greedy.
Possibly his dad being greedy.
He's a greedy man. And I say greedy because if it was about football, you'd stay at Barcelona. You wouldn't leave Barcelona to go and play for PSG if you wasn't getting an obscene amount of money. And you're already on 180, 200 grand. If you renew, probably 300 grand a week. At Barcelona, it's about cash.
The one thing I would say is that if he's sick of the Messi thing, if he wants to be the main guy, that's another reason to go.
There's loads of clubs he could be the main guy at. It doesn't have to go to PSG.
But no one can afford it. That's my point.
Come and be the main guy at Spurs.
Yeah, can you afford it?
No.
Exactly.
He's essentially costing 1/3 of our entire stadium. And we're talking about having it been 10 years to pay that off.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be buying him anytime soon.
Another transfer that's causing a bit of commotion is Keita to Liverpool from Leipzig. Liverpool have had a bid rejected, £75 million last week. Apparently, I read on the internet, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, that Liverpool have agreed terms. He's already agreed terms with Liverpool.
Right.
How are Liverpool talking to him, given what had happened with the Van Dijk stuff? If it's true, according to this, I should have gotten the source of the story, but they're agreeing terms with a player that they haven't agreed a fee with the club.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the right way of going about it.
He seems to want to go.
Yep.
They don't want him to. They want him to stay.
I think that's a Kante to Chelsea kind of level signing. If you can get someone like him. If it was me, I'll get slaughtered in the comments, I'm sure. I would sell Coutinho to get Keita and Van Dijk. Because in an attacking sense, they created a lot of chances. They were great. I know Coutinho was that guy who kind of could win them the game a lot of the times, but I really rate Mane. And they didn't have Mane for a lot of the season with the African Nations Cups and then getting injured. But I remember Spurs away, at them. He was unbelievable. Arsenal away as well, same thing.
Defensively at White Hart Lane we were brilliant last season, and Liverpool were the only teams that opened us up.
But yeah, Liverpool's kind of dealings, I guess it's unfair to just pick on one team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the whole thing with Van Dijk, that's still coming back around, and it's they'll get him. They'll get Van Dijk, I'm pretty sure of it. But I guess, can you, like with the Neymar thing and this thing, can you morally get the guys that you want anymore?
Right, so in order to function in the modern day football, you have to bend the rules.
Or is anyone naive enough to think that everyone isn't bending the rules?
When there's that much money involved, then there's always ways. It's too much at risk not to do what you need to do to get over that line.
It's too tempting as well. It's too easy to kind of to get a message to someone. You know, no club's going to go, sorry, I'm not. No, we chatted to Jim Owen, who was an agent and works with us. No, like, everyone's talking to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, what's bad is, I guess, stuff like that where they're saying that somehow it's coming out of their agreed terms, but I'm sure that's not coming from the club themselves. But it is. I think you can actually read between the lines of a lot of transfers and go, what is the common sense feeling that you would expect a player to have? And that's why, like, I think Coutinho could easily happen, because I think for him he would want to go to Barcelona, and the reason why he might not want to go is because the opposite of Neymar is that he's the main man at Liverpool, whereas at Barcelona he might not be, but Neymar's gone now.
They need to fill it,
and he can play in that position. That's why I think that's one that won't go away.
Such a drop down though, isn't it? Are they really going to replace Neymar with...
You don't like him though, do you?
No, I do. I think he's better than Eriksen. I rate him higher than... Eriksen had a great end to the season, to be fair, but it's that level.
Yeah,
it's like Eriksen going to Barcelona. There was links. Eriksen going to Barcelona. You don't replace Neymar with Eriksen.
I think Coutinho's got more about him than Eriksen.
Yeah, he's more pace and he's more dynamic.
Yeah,
just
Eriksen's
win
the game
football
himself.
brain is insane.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's,
but yeah, if they can get him, then it's great.
Did you see the weird article in the Echo? One of their columnists, what's his name?
Derek McGovern.
Yeah, he wrote this really weird, scathing attack on Leipzig. He said, "Who in God's name?" And he's quite bitter that they're not letting him go. Like, how dare they? It was that kind of feeling, really arrogant, horrible. Like, I looked at it and thought, if this is representative of Liverpool.
What in particular was he saying?
Well, he said, "Who in God's name are Leipzig, the kind of club who knock Everton out of the Europa League qualifier before finishing bottom of their group?" He said, "RP Leipzig are hated in Germany. They are, because they are designed for profit rather than football. In fact, they are the most hated outfit in Germany since the SS." I mean, it's
slightly exaggerated. I mean, look, he doesn't speak for Liverpool Football Club. But what's quite interesting there is that in Liverpool, that paper is a strong kind of outlet for Liverpool news. Whereas in London, you've got the Standard, but no one cares about it. I refuse to read that now because the fact that George Osborne's involved in that. Right. But for Liverpool, that is it'd be interesting to know what people think actually, or people who live in Liverpool. Is that how much do you sort of take in a paper that should really be it shouldn't be that clickbaity and that, I guess, what's the word, aggravating in what's written there. Surely it should be a bit smarter than that. The Liverpool Echo, there's no need to be going down the road of newspaper, of tabloid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or
they've issued
are they
an
just
apology,
competing?
and I think the article's been removed. It's not. This is one of their columnists, so he may have a reputation. I've never heard of him, but a reputation for doing this kind of thing. But it read like the kind of shit you read from Katie Hopkins or Piers Morgan. That level of.
But it's just something that exists. You have columnists like that. Katie Hopkins does exist, unfortunately. Piers Morgan is someone who's a bit of a troll. Like, you've got those guys that are about, and you kind of, that's the mix that you generally have. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but that is. I don't think any Liverpool fan really needs to read that. I don't see the point in that.
Okay. No.
All right.
Yeah. Well done.
Thanks.
If you've got any questions, by the way, if you're watching live, there's going to be 5 minutes at the end. If you want to drop your questions, I'll check out the comments at that time. Otherwise, I'll miss them, and that will be that. So let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about right at the end of the show, and do that when I ask. You see that thing with Kroenke?
Oh my God. I literally, you sort of see a cartoon and someone's shocked and their jaw goes.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
So Stan Kroenke has set up a pay-per-view hunting channel where he goes on big game hunts in Africa and kills the shit out of a lion, elephants and shit like that.
There's a word that rhymes with hunt.
Yeah.
I think when I saw that video, so he literally, and they give you a warning at the start, but he kills a lion, shoots a lion, and then he's celebrating whilst holding
Its head
its
up
dead
by its
head
snout.
up by its snout. Yeah, it's like hunting exists. Okay, that happens. I mean, I have no desire to do it whatsoever, but I guess I don't know. Some people do. That's to a point. That's their prerogative. Although it seems completely
it's a
nonsensical.
Yeah.
But to create, like, just don't.
Why do you need to do it? He's got loads of money. Why would you want to do?
Just don't film it.
And-
or even if you're going to film it, just don't put it out. And don't charge people to see it.
It's weird. It's about ego, I think, and about power, and he needs people to see it because it validates him as a man. Because I think he has a tiny penis.
It has to be tiny.
Tiny wrinkled little thing. Doesn't work. I bet he can't get him a boner. He hasn't had sex in 26 years.
I can't speak on that, but I think he's. It does, like the Sevilla thing with that. Obviously, different worlds here, but it just blows my mind how football clubs or people in the public eye think sometimes of like what you're going to put out there and what's the point, what good can come from this. Do I need to put this out there? Does he need to create that channel? Because when he's got the majority of Arsenal fans hate his guts already, he just obviously doesn't give a fuck.
No, not at all. And he owns the business, so I guess he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He never has to leave. He's not going to leave Arsenal Club on moral grounds, is he? So he'll go, I understand it. I'm going to walk away from my...
You're not feeling this, are you?
You don't like the fact that I shoot animals in the face, right? And because you don't like that...
I mean, I'm struggling to get my head around that, but...
Each his own.
Each his own, yeah. Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, so I'm just going to sell Arsenal now. Unfortunately, that's not
when
how it
you
works.
ask for questions, I would be intrigued to know how Arsenal fans feel about having someone like that. Albeit, they represent your club. They're associated to your club. Like, would he allow... like David Milo, he's got a FIFA channel, plays for Hull, got a FIFA channel. If I don't know, if Kieran Gibbs decided he was into hunting, would he be allowed to do that? Would that be a good decision for the club, for the brand of the club?
Yeah.
Probably not. So why is he allowed to do it? Mad.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Well, I mean, he's allowed to do it because it's lawful in some areas. The worst bit, he goes, the worst part of that video, he's got the local guy who's the hunt leader or whatever, he says, this one, he killed a lot of my sheep. And Stan Kroenke goes, yeah, he's been causing a lot of problems, I can see. Like, I've just solved your problem.
Yeah,
you shot
you're
a
welcome.
fucking lion with a gun.
Yeah.
Why didn't, like, if you want to take on, like, a lion, like, you think, all right, I want to test myself, I'm going to take on this, I'm going to fuck this lion up, I'm going to punch this lion to death.
Yeah.
Do it, punch it to death.
Right.
If you have to. If you have to prove yourself as a man, right? Fine. Go and fight a lion.
Which is fine. But, okay.
Well, it's not fine, but it's better than taking a double barrel fucking ball elephant rifle.
Yeah.
And shooting one in the face.
Or he's got a lot of money. Give some money to the guy to improve the fencing around his herd of sheep. there's your problem.
Yeah.
He's going, don't worry, I've sorted this out for you. Like, carcass of a lion just lying there. You know, a bit better fencing, electrical fencing. That lion's not going to go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
Idiot.
All right. So Bao limps out of training. Bad injury. Another ankle problem with his ankles. He's always been a bit injury prone at Tottenham. He hasn't really set. Yeah, he'd have periods of being out. Back injuries, ankles, hips. He's just one of those players.
Wasn't there a moment with Redknapp that he was always just a bit of a hyper, what's the word?
Yeah,
hypochondriac.
He would just be going over moaning and be getting injured.
And I remember thinking, looking at Redknapp and thinking, you think this is a masterstroke? He went down once, and he went down, and I said, and Joe Jordan's about to run over, and I said, no, leave him, leave him. He's got to learn. And he got up, and he became the best player in the world. The fact you can play him left back for fucking 2 years.
Oh mate, he was in the battles with Redknapp when Bao was at Spurs. Spurs fans said fucking idiocy. Would sing, he plays on the left, he plays on the left. Gareth Bale, he plays on the left. As it turns out,
It's far better.
best number 10 for Tottenham we've probably ever had.
Do you know what I think's really what will be sad for Bale if he can't kind of get past these injury things is, and I think it's always really unfair. And we had Kieran Dyer. He came and signed for us, and when he could play, and he didn't play a lot because his body did keep breaking down on him. He was a decent player, and he got about the pitch, and he put the effort in. But any player that continually breaks down is seen as there's something wrong with them. Not as a person, more so than
weak.
Than their body, and that's just luck of the draw, I think, to a point. And it'd be sad for someone like Bale, who was such a leader in Euro 2016, which is what he'll probably be remembered for, certainly by Welsh fans, is that he could get to a point where he was seen as he just didn't really have the stomach for it at Real Madrid, which is I think that's unfair.
Yeah, he's unlucky.
Yeah, but I do feel like if the Mbappe thing, if he does go to Real Madrid, then you can only have. It seems like you can only have 3 of those guys, those main men who will, when it comes to the Champions League final, whatever it is, they will be starting. And Bale, I don't think they can rely on him, and so.
Just so you know, Gareth, in case you are watching, I said a lot of things when you left Spurs, but if you do want to go back to Tottenham, I'll take them all back.
Do you know, there's a cheeky loan in there, isn't there? Nice little loan.
Season-long loan.
Back.
See what you can do.
Let's get you fit.
Let's let's make this about you, Gareth.
I think he'd like that.
You happy and fit again.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm in a heartbeat.
Oh,
come and play for Spurs again.
Different level. That you got a massive chance if he's got to stay fit. But
I mean, even if he plays 20 games, still I'd take him for that.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially on loan.
Best players have their careers cut short by injury. Do you know who I thought would have been an absolute quality footballer? Dean Ashton.
He did
had
look
that
good,
horrible ankle break.
Yeah. Well, his knees did his knees as well, I think. But was it his ankles?
Yeah.
I guess Wilshire's getting to that point where he's going to be like, this was a guy who everyone's so excited about.
New gas point, they said at the beginning.
Couldn't stay fit.
Van Basten,
28,
wasn't it?
Scored so many goals.
He was incredible. For those who are too young to watch him, go and watch some YouTube videos. Not now, after of YouTube of Van Basten. He scored probably the greatest goal that's ever been scored.
Yeah, certainly right up there.
Yeah.
I think he that's another one for the comments. I think let us know who are those players that you. I really did like Kieran Dyer. I thought he was a cracking footballer.
Yeah, he was.
He couldn't stay fit. Went to West Ham and just could not stay fit. It was an absolute killer for him. Owen had his troubles. Yeah. Did do a decent amount, but yeah.
Ornate pitches.
Ornate pitches.
Ornate pitches have been banned.
Didn't even bother trying to link to that, did you?
But
you just went, ornate pitches.
Ornate pitches have been banned by the Premier League. What is the Leicester City's ground going to do? He's literally got nothing to. All he's allowed to do now is a straight line across.
How straight can we get this line? That is completely unnecessary, in my opinion.
Well, it's a UEFA regulation, and Premier League have been forced to fall in line.
Miserable.
Who's being miserable?
Miserable gets.
But isn't a playing surface about? I just thought it was a bit wanky.
What is? The pitches.
Ornate pitches, and it's distracting when you.
I wasn't aware of the phrase ornate pitches.
Ornate
pitch design. The Leicester one, that's good, isn't it? Didn't like that.
Nah, I didn't. I was indifferent, but I
see no harm in it, and it's the aim is to entertain, isn't it? A little bit. So I'm fine with it.
What's he gonna do though? What he's gonna have to get a life.
What's do?
He's gonna have to get a life. That's what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to go home, see the missus. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's
one rule change that's come in is the diving. You can now get.
You can dive now.
No, you can't dive. You can get a 2-match post. What's the expression I'm looking for? They can once
ban.
Yeah, so retrospective ban, right? So they'll look back. If a player's seen to dive, they can get a 2-game ban. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's so obvious. It's such a clear idea. They might not get it bang on, and it would be up for interpretation. But overall. It's like video technology for me. It's like you might get one wrong every so often, but that's like it becomes anecdotal if you're going, yeah, but there was this one game and they got the thing wrong and it changed the game. Point is that you're making the game fairer, which I know you are not too bothered about, but I like it being fairer. And so the same thing goes for that. 9 out of 10 times, I would have thought it would be clear that the diving happens, and then it's something in a player's mind, and then we're moving back towards having a game that we can be proud of instead of embarrassed by. I go too far.
Embarrassed by it?
Sometimes I think I'm proper embarrassed by football. You watch rugby, the way that they get on with it and just hammer each other. Not literally.
I agree. I think sometimes the play acting and the simulation and the rolling around.
It's boring.
It's boring, and it makes us look like idiots.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Makes, as a football fan, you're embarrassed.
We've all seen those things where I saw one the other day. It was on Facebook, and there was someone had flicked someone's ear as a joke, and you just like start screaming. It honestly makes you feel ill. It's so embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
And I'm big on sport and how it can have actual like benefits on society or whatever, and you should be setting an example. And stuff like that being allowed I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah,
so
I think giving bans to people pretending to be hurt, that's better. 5-game ban.
Yeah.
If you pretend. And it's up to me whether I decide whether or not you are. I
hope they're doing a thing where they go, if you get done for it once, if you get done for it the second time, then double the ban.
Right. Well, I've got one issue with it, is that sometimes you dive or you move out of the way to avoid being clattered.
Yep. Well, actually, a quick plug for the final of the Fan League Cup. There is such an incident that happens in our game, which goes out at 4, live reaction show, and the top 10 moments of the Fan League Cup at 5, right here, literally right here, on the Ball Street channel.
If you don't know what the Fan League Cup is, it's a cup competition between 8 of the biggest YouTube channels who have football teams.
Yeah.
And they played each other in a knockout tournament. Ball Street were in it.
And Ball Street are in the final.
We won our first 2 games.
Absolutely.
So you find out, you come join us on the actual main Ball Street channel.
See if we win the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a moment like that where someone has to get out of the way, I think.
Avoid having his leg broken.
Yeah, because it did look, and yeah, so I think something like that, you've got to maybe show a bit of common sense. What will come from that is the controversy, well, he got away with it, why doesn't he get away with it? But just do the best you can.
Yeah. I think if a player has a reputation, be treated harshly.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that.
You've got a reputation.
Yeah. You've done this before.
You've done it.
Yeah, mate, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You've got a record.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. We don't forget or forgive.
True.
Poo shame. All I've got here is poo shame in football ground, and then with the Mark James.
Yeah. So hi everyone. I went to QPR versus Bournemouth at the weekend, pre-season friendly before the season kicks off. Championship kicks off a week before. Good luck to all teams involved, especially Queen's Park Rangers. And it was Stan Bowles' testimonial. Stan Bowles is our greatest ever player, and it's quite an emotional day actually, which is, I don't know why I'm telling you about this now because I'm going to something incredibly trivial. But he's got Alzheimer's, and so he sort of came on the pitch and waved to everyone. It was almost like watching, it was like an excited child because he has regressed.
Right.
But it was a lovely day, and all the money goes to his family in terms of his care, which I think is great. Yeah. I don't know how to segue to this, but anyway. But what a moment happened. I think it was at half time. It was at half time. So half time I went to have a wee. Yeah. Right. Go to the toilet, and at football grounds, often there's a lot of urinals, isn't there? Loads of urinals. Yeah. You're fine, aren't you? You might have a little wait, but you're fine to have a wee. However, there are very few proper loos, right? And in this toilet there was 2 cubicles available, and for both of those there was loads of urinals available, but there was only 2 there, and there was about 3 guys queuing for it. So, which is what you've written down there. What I was actually saying was, so this is poo queue shame. So I walked in, right? And I walked in and I saw this guy, when you just clock eyes with someone. Yeah. He looked at me and I looked at him, and we both, there was just a moment where he went, he sort of looked down. I'll do it to camera. So I walked in and he went, and he had poo queue shame because he was having to queue to have a poo. And I know that he knows he's having a poo, and he knows I know that he's having a poo, because why would he not be having a wee? Because the urinal's right there. And it was a moment, and not a nice one, but it was a moment all the same. And from that, it made me think. Right. Has anyone else been at a game where they've either been in the queue and had poo queue shame, or just gone into not a packed toilet and there's still a queue there, and you've gone, he's having a poo. he's waiting to have a poo.
Firstly, why is there shame with needing to go for a poo?
I don't know. It's just like
Private.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like at school. Did you know that at school where you're like?
So was you?
He's had a poo, isn't he? He's just had a poo. It's like a big thing. No, is that just me?
I never had.
Have you aware of that? No, you were never embarrassed. No,
I never did a single poo at secondary school.
Why are you telling me that, Flav? Why are you bothered about telling me that?
I'm not.
Shame. Poo shame.
I'm not.
Well, not poo
I don't have any shame.
Poo shame. Poo shame. It's real. It's real.
It's not. It's in your head.
No.
That guy didn't feel any shame.
He did, mate. He was because he knew. Because I looked at him like, why are you waiting? You're waiting because you need a poo. and he was embarrassed. He's embarrassed.
You're projecting your feelings onto him.
I don't think I am. I'm intrigued to know what people think about this. Can we go to the comments?
Let's go quickly in the comments.
Is poo Q shame or poo shame real?
Is poo shame real? Yeah, just type yes in the comments or no in the comments.
Junior agrees.
Junior's.
Mate, because people are like, I don't know, it's just a bit more personal, isn't it, than a wee? What's I saying?
No.
At school, people were wary of having a poo. It's true, man. They were. And there is nothing to be ashamed of. I get it.
Tom Cash says, who has a dump at football?
That's what I mean. You're all judging him. But we're all judging him.
I'm judging you.
No.
What, you had shame?
Tom Cash says, he's saying, who does that? That guy did that. And he was ashamed of it.
But listen, do you feel shame when you go to the football?
It would be a last resort.
So what was you waiting for?
I didn't need a poo. I didn't just stay there for ages. It's just had him there, just like staring for like fucking 30 seconds. It was a moment. It was a split second. Then I went down my way and went back.
And your thought process led you to thinking he's got poo shame.
Look, I don't know. I can't really walk you through it, but right. I walked in. Right, moment happened. Then realisation, you're waiting to have a poo.
Yeah.
And then I've gone and walked and had my wee, and then in my own mind I've gone, he's waiting to have a poo. And he looked at me and he seemed a bit ashamed. He had poo cue shame. That's literally how my mind worked in that period.
Do you feel
poo cue shame? Poo cue shame.
David Thomas just says, yo. It's David Thomas. Yo, I went for a poo during a game at Brighton and came out with a woman looking at me. I went for a shit in the women's toilet.
I've done that. I did that when I was about 10. I went in. I thought, God, this doesn't smell. This is nice. And then realising, got the hell out of there.
So a lot of people saying yes, poo shame is real. It's a real thing.
See, it's just you.
It doesn't bother me. That's all I've got to be saying. But I've never. I would not poo at the football.
But my point is just like. To a deeper level, I know something about you now. I know that you needed a poo and you're having a poo right now, or you're about to have one, or you're uncomfortable and you're desperate to have a poo. Enough to not hold it in and just have a wee. You're waiting. You're willing. You're that desperate to have a poo that you're waiting. And I know that in that one look.
Adam Rosenbaum, to finish this segment. Adam Rosenbaum says, "I don't like pooing in public."
Well, maybe Adam can expand on that next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Back from work. I hope you will, Adam.
Yeah. And Chris Pajak's in the comments as well, so if you want to ask Pajak nudes, head over there and demand. I think that's it. We've got more, but...
What about questions?
Well,
feels a bit harsh. At least one or two.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let us know if you have any questions, anything else you want us to talk about in the comments right now. We'll read them out and we'll answer them. Who will be the first manager to get sacked this season? Kieran Tyrrell asks.
Mark Hughes.
Oh yeah, Stoke. I forgot he was even manager.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of the Arsenal situation, but a little bit less. And basically, the chairman has said that he needs to have a good start, and they historically have a very bad start. They've lost Arnautovic, one of their best players. Bojan 2 seasons ago was good, but then they've basically phased him out. I think they're in trouble.
I think so too. I also think it's Wenger.
You think Wenger will go? No way. It doesn't, mate. The amount of heat he got last year, and you think he'd be the first one to go?
Yeah,
no chance.
Yeah. We've got a question here from George Smith. Is Neymar more likely to win the Ballon d'Or at PSG? Thanks for joining us, George. We talked about this already. I should have read the question.
Is he more likely?
We said no.
I actually, I think probably no. Because he'll have less opportunities to win the Champions League because overall the squad will probably not be as good.
Who will win the league this year? David Thomas asked top for predictions.
Man City will win the league this year. I'll just say we're doing a live season Prem predictor next week, and you guys can help vote and choose our table next Wednesday. So subscribe and hit the notification bell on the Bull Street channel if you want to be a part of that. But I shouldn't have said Man City really because I've given it away. But I think Man City.
Aaron Sharp asked for mid-table Premier League chat, please. Don't know what to do with that.
Bournemouth looked good. I saw him at the weekend. Weren't playing their best players either. I think it's still a bit weak at the back. Need to get a quality centre back in. However, they have brought one in, haven't they? Nathan Ake. Wicked. Yeah. Bournemouth to be a big surprise this year. I think they'll finish 8th.
Okay. And final question from Brainy Graph. Who will go down this season? It's got to be Brighton.
On the Long Ball Street on Matt's podcast, can we? Yeah,
Huddersfield Town and get pumped. They're going to get their arse. It'll be like a wizard sleeve their arse afterwards. It'll be every Premier League team just railing them.
I think Huddersfield it'd be a massive surprise if they start. Brighton, I think, will definitely go down. They haven't bought anyone. And their squad is good and solid, but it's a big jump up, and I think they'll struggle as well. And I will go with Stoke or Burnley or Watford, one of those.
It's about time Stoke went.
Yeah,
they got to just fuck off.
Big club, huge club.
Actually, I like them because they always
could be what. Silver's there, isn't he?
They wind Arsenal up.
Who knows?
James Cody says Brighton, Huddersfield and Leicester will go down.
Leicester's a shout.
Alright. That's it. Thank you. Oh, someone requested a proper birds and that next week with what goes on in the stag in Hamburg.
Well, I mean, of course we won't be birding.
You're getting married.
I'm getting married.
And I have a girlfriend that I love, and this is being recorded.
She seems to say on every podcast.
I love her to bits.
You want to make it clear.
She's incredible.
I understand that.
She's a beautiful
I'm excited
lady.
about getting married myself.
She's kind.
We will try and hopefully surely there'll be one good story from
great backside.
So's mine, and Brain. If you're watching, she won't be. She hates football. We will try and offer up the best story from the stag. Hopefully there'll be something.
All right, we'll come up with stuff. We'll come up with something, and we'll fill in next week. Thank you all for joining us. Remember what we found out. If we want to trick iTunes algorithm into pushing up the charts, it's not about how many people download the podcast. It's about how many people engage.
Reviews, isn't it?
Give us reviews, ratings on iTunes, and that helps us go up those charts. More people get to see it. More people get involved in the comments. And
leave a review, 5-star review, I guess.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
No, it could be a terrible review.
Yeah, crap one.
Yeah.
And give us your thoughts on Pouchet.
All right.
You could read out the best ones.
See you at the far post, Jim.
See you at the far post.
Oh.